let's get right into it. And feel free to throw in a few snippets because you guys are wildly impressive. But I want to talk first about, let's actually go to you, Charlotte. Let's talk about this Mondavi meets ceramic meets $3,500. You break it down for everybody what exactly that means.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. Yes? Yes. Here you go. All right. Thank you. No, thank you for having me, Codie. Amazing NFT project. Disclaimer, we had no idea what we were doing, and literally this was all new to us. So it all started with a conversation with Michel Bernardo from the porcelain luxury house Bernardo. And what we were interested in was to see what the aging would look like for 30 years porcelain versus glass for 30 years. Then it came an NFT on the table, and that was an interesting concept for us. What was really interesting was the potential of blockchain and authentication. When we're looking at luxury wines, we estimate about 30% are fake or counterfeited, so about 30%. It's huge. So as we're going towards authenticating our products, we felt blockchain was an area we all wanted to learn from. So Top Wine, the Tokelon Vineyard, is one of the premier vineyards in the Napa Valley. You're very close to it and very familiar with it. And really, this absolutely amazing wine induces porcelain collector items. I can't wait to tell you more, but that's probably too much.
No, it's perfect. And
exciting.
Maybe somebody could bring one up at some point. They could surprise us. We could show everybody. I don't know. If you guys comment enough or say how great it is, maybe she could give you a viewing. I don't know if somebody's back there and feels like wrangling an NFT that's a rather large vintage of wine, but could grab it. And then, oh, look at this.
Ooh.
Just you wait. Check out this bad. Oh, God. I'm nervous. I don't need, should I hold this thing? What do we do here?
Yes, you cannot break it.
No, I'm gonna
That's
try.
for sure.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
But this is it. This is the Magnum. Very unique techniques. Michel Bernardo and Jeff Koons took about 9 years to develop this red, shiny, but massive collector's art. So whether you drink it or not, I'm personally going to hold on to mine for a while. This is absolutely something that should be in your collection.
Yeah, I'm going to give you that too. Okay. Yeah, the other thing I think is cool is, to your point, I mean, we at Contrarian Thinking are always investing in wine, and the idea that 30% of the things we invest in could be bogus is not ideal. So I love the idea of blockchain continuity. So when it comes to you, Swan, I mean, you guys have probably heard of Farniente if you're fancy, but Farniente is one of my favorite wines here in the US, and basically luxury, you know, kind of old world, but in the new world wine brand. And, you know, how are you guys thinking about not just community, but blockchain? Because you bring that idea of, what did you call it, like 21st century Web 3.0 to sort of 20th century wine?
Absolutely. I mean, first, I'm really impressed with what Charlotte and her team have done, because I've been doing digital transformation for Web 2 for a decade. We're not even done with that, and we're jumping into Web 3. And the culture of Web 3 is inherently a little different, which does then affect the tech and the community. People are jumping in faster and being less precious. Even the fact that we're both up here on stage, in Web 2, we might have been competitors. In Web 3, we're collaborators, because you can love many brands, and the open mentality and collaboration is really exciting. But NFTs are starting out as this art and collectible, very fine point of entry, but it is so much more. It's authentication, like what you guys were saying, but also think about loyalty, consumer data, CRM, full life stages. I mean, Uber knows where we go, Amazon knows what we buy, Netflix knows what we watch. But if in the future your wallet is everything you do, a fullest representation of who you are, think about what that not only does for better targeting for brands, but consumers to own their data and for them to monetize it. Because if I look in somebody's wallet and I see all these incredible fine wines, we know they're a great customer, but you wouldn't know that if you were, because you don't have the data from on-premise restaurant sales or, you know, stores that they're buying into. But if I see that there's a person who loves fine wine, think about what brands now have to do to earn the relationship. And I think that whole thing's about to be flipped, and early adopters are going to win.
I love that. What do you think's the wildest thing that you know, maybe the old school winemakers or traditionalists in the industry don't get about NFTs? Because, I mean, we've invested in a few wine ancillary products, and I mean, it's hard to get them to try new technology, more or less to sell, you know, bites on the internet.
The biggest misconception is that it's a technology that will disrupt what we do. It'll disrupt the future, but it doesn't change your drinking and sharing experience over that glass of wine. It's meant to be augmenting and up-leveling the experience, not disrupting it. And the biggest pushback I get is like, well, an NFT, I can't touch it. The great thing about attaching it to physical wine, it's already one use case, but just because we can't touch it doesn't mean it's not real. And my biggest example is when I tell people to take out their phone and show me their favorite photo. It's usually pets or kids or a vacation. Well, I say, what if I deleted all your photos on that phone in that moment? And of course, they gasp, grab their phone back, and call me an evil person, but you can't touch those photos either. So the misconception of that it's going to disrupt the beautiful products we have, or that because we can't touch it, it's not real, we have to let those go. And it's going to take a bit of retraining.
Yeah, I think you're right. But also, I mean, think about it from, from a winemaker's perspective. I think it's really cool you guys get it, because we're talking about hundreds of millions and soon to be billions of dollars being thrown around in the crypto, blockchain, and NFT world. And so, if the old school traditionalists want to get a foothold in with 21st century capital, you're going to have to figure it out. Because, perfect segue to Bill, also if you look at the numbers, and I used to run a cannabis fund, we played on alcohol all the time because decreasing usage of alcohol across states where legalization happens means that more people are using cannabis and mocktails instead of cocktails. So maybe there's a way to re-engage with a community that's not just alcohol based. Bill, I guess my question from you here is, when you see community from a cocktail perspective or a drinking perspective, I think you had some interesting takes on what it means for women, what it means for us humans when we're not all just pounding, I don't know, Smirnoff Ice or something.
Exactly. The allegory to Web 3.0 really is inclusivity. And so we're all about bringing people together. That's the whole idea behind mocktails, or the whole revolution around no and low drinks. So wine is a great connector, but historically it's really been food, wine, drinks. And what we're trying to basically do here today is to express that, technology takes many forms, and we're a bev tech company. So we bring new technologies and new approaches to bringing people together so that now the folks that are drinking and not drinking, they can share the same space, they can enjoy this social occasion, the same drink in the same glass at the same time. And now we're not talking about who's drinking and who's not drinking. We're talking about NFTs. We're talking about your vacation. We're talking about your career, et cetera, et cetera.
What does that mean, bev tech? Can I just double tech on that really quick? What's that?
Yeah, so there's a whole industry called ag tech, food tech, bev tech. Basically what it means is the next generation of food and beverage products. So the entire food business has been underinvested. So there's been so much venture, and I came from a private equity and venture capital background in Wall Street for 15 years, where my clients were the private equity and venture funds. And so much money goes into technology, but the food and beverage space has been dramatically underinvested for decades and decades. And people are just now waking up to the fact that, wait a second, there's a revolution going on across the world. And most people here in the States don't realize, but actually we're behind in the US in terms of the revolution in food and beverage. So bev tech may be a new idea here, but we talk about it a lot in Europe, which is essentially bringing new ideas and new products and new approaches. And it does in fact take technology. Wine, beer, and spirits essentially can be preserved just by the mere fact that there's alcohol in it. But how the heck do you present a product on that level with no alcohol and no preservatives? So it takes technology to get there. So we're a bev tech company.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the numbers. We invest in a company called Can, which is like microdose social tonics with cannabis. And when I was looking at the numbers, it was like $20 billion in 2018. And then with a 7% to 10% increase year over year, which means we'd be right around 22 billion, 23, 24 billion. And I imagine there was an acceleration in COVID when everybody's not out partying and they're instead home in their parents' basement or whatever the case is. So with that, we've talked about tech to remove alcohol. Maybe talk to me a little bit about tech in alcohol beyond just the NFTs. The part that I'm trying to wrap my brain around is I love the idea of the art that Clay showed us. How else do you envision at Mondavi, as one of sort of like the leaders in the industry, to create more experiences with tech and wine and crypto?
Yeah, so tech is part of our daily life, right at the center of the vineyard, right? So Tokalon Vineyard in Oakville, one of the most prominent vineyards. We use tons of tech to monitor drip irrigation when we're using it, or the different soil levels. So there's massive potential in the NFT world, set aside the glamorous part, but from a very technical point to help us not so much manage our vineyards better, but getting closer to nature. From a marketing standpoint, you really hit the nail on the head when you talked about the opportunity to have experiences. One thing that we can't do when you go buy a bottle of wine in a store is offering you experiences. You're working with us with the NFT. We're going to have special invitations, special events at the winery. So we're able to offer you a much richer experience than we wouldn't without it, for sure.
I love that. I've read about 3 blog posts on this, so I think I'm an expert. And basically, some of the stuff that I thought was coolest is like, like a wall in a grocery store, and where you have the QR codes now, you could have like interactive nature with the NFT community, things I could only see if I had the NFT versus not. An ability to basically right now, if I'm on a few wine lists, they send me some emails, they send me some elaborate calligraphy in the mail, but this might be that on steroids. Maybe there's something at South by just for Mondavi or Farniente. What do you see, Swan? Because you have done communities with Nike, Revlon, Estee Lauder, sort of crypto companies across the board. What do you think is going to be in the future that's even more exciting with communities, blockchain, and alcohol?
It's giving a chance for consumers to raise their hands and say, I'm a fan of this brand. Because even though we know omnichannel is valuable, people spend 30% more if they use you in omnichannel, we don't have the data to collect that. And understandably, when I was at Nike, yes, we were great partners with Foot Locker. They're not giving us that customer data because they don't want us to take that customer. That brands can now connect not only directly with their fans, but fans can connect with each other. How would you find, if you go to Instagram and you go to a brand's followers, you're not scrolling hundreds of thousands of people to see if there's someone you'd hang out with. But imagine if there's a token gated, e.g. you have to own an NFT from this brand to get into this experience. Immediately you've opted in and said, wow, these are like-minded people. These are my tribes. Imagine then if you could also say, well, which one of these overlap with 50% of what's in my wallet? The places I've gone, the places I like to eat, my interest of shows, and on and on. How much more quickly can you find community? Because community is 2 things. It's the intersection of commonality of purpose and frequency of touch. You have to believe in the same things, and you have to interact often enough to actually feel included. Women's March, you'd argue, really passionate singularity of purpose, but we did a few marches and that was it. Instagram, we're on every day, high frequency, but I would argue as a platform, it's not a community. There's sub-communities in it, but I don't go to Instagram's Instagram account to see what's going on. So if we can figure out using NFTs how to intersect people who believe in the same things and give them opportunity to find each other often enough and for them to participate with us instead of broadcasting, that's the future of community.
I love it. Okay, Bill, I'm going to go to you. Then I want to do like a rapid fire for the last couple of things, and I'll ask you all the hard questions before I get out of here and you can't yell at me. Bill, for you, I like this idea of, oftentimes I'm not drinking at parties like these. Like we go to too many of them. I can't handle it the next day. So I think it'd be cool to meet other people who weren't, also drinking. But how else do you envision? You're the founder. You're in charge of the company. How are you going to make community, crypto, and blockchain a part of what you guys do? Do you see that becoming something important to your company at Mocktails?
Well, it is all about inclusivity, and we are, pushing forward with lots of different types of technology. And what I would say is, what Swan just mentioned earlier, you can be a fan of many different types of products, and what we see is moderation really is the key. So you could be a fan of Mondavi wine and mocktails at the same time. So I'll coin a phrase and say that it's not necessarily like-minded, but we're like-mindful people, and we're looking at moderation. So Codie on one day may be having a drink, but on another day she might not want to have a drink. So you're both a drinker and a non-drinker, and so we want to basically become inclusive. Everyone enjoys the party at the same time, and by doing so, we can team with companies like Mondavi Wine and say, look, if you're drinking, here's a great alternative. If you're not drinking, here's a different alternative. There's lots of ways that we're wrapping in those experiences. And you mentioned earlier the QR code. In the grocery store, for instance, we have QR codes that are going up on what are called shelf talkers. You enter the QR code, you now, instead of having or staring at a product on the shelf, now you have an experience. There's a video, and that can connect to NFTs and other things, as you mentioned before. So this is all new territory for us, but we're thrilled to be here for Grit House Daily. And I just like to say one thing: the vibe on stage is absolutely incredible. We just had International Women's Day, and look at the dynamic leaders we have on stage here today. I mean, I just want to shout out to the 3 incredible ladies that were sharing the stage with me here today, and congratulations on all your successes.
Keep it going, Bill. I like it. Okay, so rapid fire. Here's what I'd love for you guys. Let's give all of these people at the end something really like actionable they could take away with. For instance, the coolest NFT project that you think's happening in food and beverage or alcohol right now. What's in your wallet if you want to share it? A project that you're working on that you think people should know about. The more tactical, specific, the better, so that people could literally go out and take this action with them today. Okay? Who wants to start? I want to give you, okay. Oh, I like it, all of you. All right. Charlotte, here we go.
I'll start. What's in my wallet? A full set of the Mondavi project. And I'm biased and I'm totally owning it because I'm very aware of all the benefits, exclusive experiences that are coming your way, my way. So that's
Give me another one. What else? One other thing that's cool besides, I like the pump. I get it. I mean, I'm an investor.
All right. I'm busted. I am a huge fan of what Adidas is doing. Adidas and so many projects help us really learn, see what's coming for us. And I really look forward to have you at the winery and do a project together, Swan.
I like it. It's happening here. Making deals on stage. I'm into it. Okay, Swan, give it to us.
It's funny you mentioned Adidas because I had the honor of hosting the Twitter Spaces that announced the Bored Apes, Punks Comic, Adidas, and G-Money collaboration. So it's amazing to see things weaving through industries, Mondavi and Adidas in the same sentence. My encouragement is we're on the precipice of a fundamental change in how we live, work, and play. So don't be afraid. I'm not saying go buy an NFT or buy crypto tomorrow, but let go of the resistance that this is something scary or weird and be open to learning. 81% of crypto is men. Less than 5% of NFTs is women. That is not reflective of society. So whether you go to mybff.xyz, and it's an organization that was founded by Britt Moore and Jamie Schmidt with Mila Kunis, Gwyneth Paltrow, Tyra Banks, I'm one of the founding members, all geared towards education and opportunity for women and non-binary. And if you learn something cool, go tell it to 5 people who don't act, look, or sound like you, because that's the only way this works is we democratize it.
Love it. All right, Bill.
Well, we're all about partnerships. So we're in a partnership with the hospitality industry, with the retail industry, with the winemakers, with the importers, distributors, and folks around the world to really bring something completely new to the conversation. So in terms of what's in my wallet, believe me, I've got 3 kids. Youth sports is in my wallet. And we're finding revolutionary ways of actually connecting youth athletics in such a way that we now put things like sorry for the digression, but things like head injuries and arm injuries and things like that, and sharing data, sharing platforms so that we can actually reduce injury to young kids while they pursue their athletic and academic careers. So that's what's in my wallet.
I love it. Yeah. So to wrap it up, at Contrarian Thinking, we always talk about learn, earn, invest. So I hope you guys are taking a chance to learn. Oh, I have multiple mics now. I hope you guys are taking a chance to learn from this today. Maybe you think about ways to apply it to your business, aka earn, and then invest, get in the space. I always think skin in the game, money in the game is how you learn more. So thank you all for being in here. I'm excited to see your products. Feel free to send them to my wallet or anyone here, and have a great rest of your day.